Hi, this is the Travel Ball Dad. I'm here with Beth Jessop with Sports Moms United. Beth, welcome.
Thank you so much for
No
having me on.
problem.
I'm so excited.
Excellent. Beth and I met several months ago. She runs a Facebook group called Sports Moms United, and me doing what I do, trying to understand all the different things that travel ball and youth sports have to offer. I uncovered the group, and she allowed me to enter and understand what they're doing. But after learning more about, I call it a mission. It is kind of a mission in a sense.
It is, yeah.
It's pretty cool and definitely valuable to all the sports moms and dads out there to help their youth athletes, their kids, be as healthy as possible. And there's several ways she helps to contribute to their healthiness. And I'll kind of let Beth go into that. But before we do, Beth, give us some background on yourself.
Okay, wow. So I was a college athlete myself. So I played basketball in college many years ago. And I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. So my 10-year-old is a daughter, and she is my dancer. And so I'm officially a dance mom, which is is a whole new thing for me, but it's amazing.
Awesome.
And then my son is 8, and he plays baseball and basketball, though baseball is his first love. And my husband also played baseball in college and is still pitching, and he is 50 and he's still pitching. So he's my other player. So I have 3 athletes that I have to take care of.
Wonderful. So what led you to create, so you've obviously got several athletes in the family, yourself included. What drove you to want to create the Facebook group Sports Moms United? What exactly does it entail?
Well, yeah, actually, it didn't start out as many people, journey into their businesses. It didn't start out as that. It just started out wanting to serve moms and their athletes just in the nutritional realm. So, and it was actually called Your Fit Kid. It wasn't even Sports Moms United when we first started. But as I looked at who I wanted to serve, I really realized that sports moms are just like my heart. I personally had like the most amazing sports mom, and she passed away in 2004. And so it's really just a tribute to her also to say, hey, I know what you were doing. I see all the work that you put in. And at that time, youth sports wasn't even as intense, I think, as it is now when I played. So I feel like sports moms are doing so much. And if there's something that I can do to serve them and to support them and to make their lives easier, that is the bottom line. That's what the group is for.
One of the things recently that you put out there, and I think it was you, and if it wasn't you, then I'll have egg on my face. But didn't you put out there a recipe type of platform to where if you wanted to make something, there was a way to, or you subscribe to a service, and if I want to make spaghetti, it tells me all the ingredients I need to get at the grocery store and makes a list for me. Those types of tips and tricks for moms is priceless.
Yes, yeah. Actually, yes. It's a platform called Plan to Eat. And it's one that I discovered. It's not one that I created, but I discovered it. And yeah, you can take any recipe off the internet, plug it in, and it will make your meal plan for the week and then make your grocery list. It's a game changer.
And we're also busy with practices and games and band concerts, choir concerts, how to juggle it in the air. My wife and I were having a conversation Sunday at soccer, and we're going through the week. Okay, who's got Monday? Who's got Tuesday? And the parent next to us was kind of laughing because they do the same thing. So it's just kind of we're so busy, and those little tips go a long way.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm really impressed with Beth around is the nutritional aspect of the group.
Mm-hmm.
She said the other day, and we were talking, food is fuel. And when kids look at it in that manner, maybe it might hit home a little more so than if you just say it's good for you. You want to perform at your best, therefore you want the best fuel to give you that most energy. Beth, can you talk about the 3 different areas of your nutritional, not guidelines, but the main emphasis of Sports Moms United, those 3 nutritional areas that we spoke about last week?
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned that first one, that food is fuel. So we want them to have parents and athletes to have a common language around food, that it's not a good food or a bad food, but that what are we going to do today to fuel your performance and your recovery? So that's a big piece of it. And you got to get their buy-in, right? First, as parents, we have to understand how important it is, but then we have to get our athletes buy-in as well. And then the other thing that's really important, and this goes to speaking to recovery, is that proper nutrition protects. That's kind of a really important thing that I think we don't realize how much our nutrition is protecting our performance and allowing us to recover. Like, we're very focused on the macronutrition, like the proteins, the fats, and the carbs, and the fuel. But we have to also focus on the fruits and veggies and all of the kind of stuff that allows us to recover. And you're protecting your performance with your food. As much as you are fueling it, you're protecting it as well. You're protecting your body so you don't get injured.
So to recap, food is fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Protect your
performance. Proper nutrition protects. Yeah.
And that goes a long way. I think we are so consumed with preparing for that game or that event. Far too often we may not focus on that recovery piece. And I know we're guilty of it, right? We want to make sure they're healthy and ready to go at game time. But that recovery piece, that's not an area that we emphasize yet. But having spoken to you and learning more about it, it does bring light that you need those nutritional pieces to help you recover sooner.
Right. Otherwise, your athlete is always starting from a deficit. Think of it that way. They're always starting from behind if they're not preparing their body in advance for the damage that happens when you naturally, are playing your sport, when you're training and when you're working really hard. You're damaging the inside of your body, and so you have to protect it. Just like you would. I mean, I like to think of it this way: you would never let your child go out on the field without proper gear, right? You would never let your child play tackle football without a helmet.
Mm-hmm.
We can't let our children go out onto the field without protecting themselves from the inside out as
That's
well.
Very, very well said. And that third point that you were talking about?
Preparation is key. That's the big thing. And it's so true of anything. Yet it parallels sports so beautifully, right? You would never be able to go out and play a game having not practiced the week before.
So talk to us about some preparational guidelines or tips and tricks from a preparation perspective that we can use at home.
Yeah, sure. The what we just discussed earlier, that Plan to Eat, if you can find apps that are helpful in getting you organized, those are, anytime you can get yourself organized, if you have a calendar, a written calendar or a digital calendar in which you, especially, and not just writing out the meals, but looking at your week and looking at planning the meals around, okay, we know we're not going to be home on Tuesday night because, we've got, for example, my daughter has dance from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock or 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And in between there, I got to run Bo to his baseball practice. Mm-hmm. So I know Tuesday night is going to be a tough night. So I plan a meal accordingly for those nights. So actually planning your meal around your schedule and not just sitting down and going, okay, I'm going to, we've got this, we've got that, and just putting down meals. So I think that's a big piece of it too, is really looking at your own schedule and what you can do around that.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head, and the planning is key. The super value meal at the Quickie Mart isn't the best dinner for anybody or lunch, and I'm guilty of it, right? Because we're busy. Last night we're done with basketball at 8:30. Hey, Dad, I want Taco Bell. Okay, great, because I don't want to go home and fix something. I don't want to go to the grocery. I need to get her something in her belly, and then get home, showered, ready for school, start it all over again.
If there's not a plan in place, we default to that, right? Because
you're exactly right, and I'm as guilty as anybody, and more so probably. And one of the more, we talk about planning and looking at our week in advance. One of the things that I think gets lost is that downtime planning. We're so busy that kids need downtime, and they need time to just chill and veg and recover from the stresses of life. I mean, there's so much more stress in a kid's life today than there was when we grew up.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a lot older than you. You're 29, right?
Yeah, right. Thank you.
but it is stressful on the kids. And, not only do we have to focus on getting good food in them and the right food to perform as well as recover, but that mental nutrition. And we talked on that piece as well. And that's another area that we're really concerned with for helping others. And there's so much going on in today's world that these kids need all the advantages possible. And it's all about education, giving them the tools to be successful. For example, yourself and what you're doing is phenomenal, a great asset to the sports moms as well as dads around the world. And Facebook and social media is a great platform. Websites are great because it allows them to gain that knowledge that they may not have had otherwise.
Well, and the other thing too around that, we have so much information today that sometimes it's hard to decipher what is important and what is not important. And Sports Moms United, the concept around it is for moms to be able to go to one place and get all the information that they need to raise a nutritionally fit, physically fit, and mentally fit athlete. So that it's right there. So that, I mean, you barely have time to get your kid in the car and to practice. You don't have time to search the internet for all the information that you need to give your child what they need. So the idea is to have it in one place. Exactly. To have it in one place and have really vetted resources that you can trust.
Well, I don't want to take too much of your time today, Beth. What are a couple of things that you see in the youth sports industry that are alarming to you, that are satisfying to you, that 5 years ago you didn't see this occurring, but now you see it? What are some things of concern that you're seeing in the youth sports market?
Gosh, that's a really interesting question, because I, having been an athlete and having grown up at a different time, and different sort of youth culture, I go back and forth with the competitiveness of it. Like, I love that drive. I love that competitiveness of it. Mm-hmm. And then what you were speaking to, the balance of it. But I think what's alarming is that if our children have their entire identity wrapped up in their sport, and if we as parents foster that only, we're doing them a huge disservice.
I couldn't agree more.
And so I really feel like there has to be like really strong open communication between the athlete and the parent, so that the athlete doesn't feel like their identity, one, with their relationship with their parent, is solely about performing for them. And also just that because most kids don't go on to play even college sports. Right. So the life lessons are what's so important, and what sports is so rich with.
I couldn't agree more. And you played at the Division I level, correct?
Your husband, I Division II.
Division II level. Your husband played at Division I level, both NCAA athletes. And you're right. It's a funnel, right? You got a big bottom, and as you go up the ladder, fewer and fewer get those collegiate opportunities as well as professional opportunities. And myself, having umpired at the pretty high levels, mm-hmm. and seeing Hall of Famers up close, I think I have a perspective that a lot of others may not. I know chances are pretty slim my son's going to the big leagues. I know this because I've seen that firsthand, and maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't want to discourage him from continuing to work towards that goal. Mm-hmm. However, I'm a realist, and I don't want that to consume him. I want him to, because it's a kid's game that adults play, right? And we're going to go off and do other things and learn about different interests, and sports isn't the end of the world. Mm-hmm. But we have to, I think far too many times that message is banged into the heads of the youth. Mm-hmm. Not from them, but from the parents, maybe living vicariously, or thinking that that's his or her shot to get to the next level. And for some it is, and for some it does work out, but far too many times it doesn't. And it's a numbers game. There's only so many spots, and you got to work to get there, and it doesn't always work out. But I'll get off my soapbox. I agree with your points, and there is that fine balance, but that competitiveness, it is fun. I mean, watching my daughter last night, she's more competitive than any of us, and I just love watching that. But mm-hmm. I love watching her flip channels on the couch watching TV sometimes too. Not all the time, but sometimes.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the thing, being a sports parent, is that balance between the two, and really being aware of that, because you can so easily, especially if you were an athlete, or you have that competitive nature, you can so easily get caught up in that. Mm-hmm. So you have to really be intentional about knowing what your family values are, and working sports around that, not the other way around.
Right. Beth, where can people find you online, your social handles? How can they get involved with Sports Moms United?
Sure, sure. So we have the Sports Moms United Facebook group. So you can just get on Facebook and get type in Sports Moms United and get in that group. And then there is a website as well, which is just sportsmomsunited.com. And to be honest, I don't have a lot of other social channels right now. So
hey, that's okay. I asked Beth last week or so. I said, "Why a closed group? Why not just have it open to the masses?" And her response was pretty good. It kind of governs itself. A closed group does govern itself and has some benefits to it, and it makes it more of a community in a sense. And she's definitely gained that with what she's created over there at Sports Moms United on the Facebook channel. So I highly encourage you to check it out. She's doing some cool things and bringing attention to what's very important to helping our kids be as successful as possible, both mentally and physically. So Beth, I really do appreciate your time. Hang in there. I'm going to talk to you here in a moment, but I'm going to end this interview.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am.